Hello everyone, welcome to my quick learning session. I am Oishi Roy Choudhury, a student of economics at Shahjalal University of Science and Technology. Have you ever wondered how research can directly lead to positive change in real world situations? If so, then this session is for you. Today we are exploring the world of action research, which is a dynamic approach that bridges the gap between theory and practice. In this video, we will look at its meaning, models, and challenges. So let's start with what exactly is action research. Simply, action research is all about learning by doing. Instead of just studying theories, researchers actively engage with real world problems to bring change. It's a continuous cycle of reflection, action, and improvement where researchers and practitioners work together to create meaningful impact. It's not just about gaining knowledge but also about applying ideas to improve the society. Now let's look at some key models of action research. Despite variations in designs, all models share some common elements such as identifying a problem, observing current practices, collecting and analyzing data, and finally taking action to improve the situation, which guides the next stage. So, one important model is Kemmis and McTaggart spiral model. Kemmis and McTaggart describe action research as a self-reflective cycle which involves the steps such as planning a change, acting and observing the process and consequences of the change, reflecting on the outcomes and replanning, and then repeating the cycle with further acting, observing and reflecting. So, this model is a participatory process where researchers engage with the community and reflect on their actions to drive change. It's important to note that the stages in this model are not rigid, they can overlap and initial plans may change as you learn from your experiences. The process is flexible and responsive, which makes it ideal for real world problems. It encourages deeper understanding and informed decision making, but due to its repetitive nature, it may take a long time to complete. Another important model is O'Leary cycles of action research model. From the figure, we can see that O'Leary's action research model is a cyclical process that takes shape as new knowledge emerges. The cycles are based on evaluative practice and alternates between action and critical reflection. Each cycle leads to better understanding of the situations and improved action implementation. O'Leary describes the model as an experimental learning approach where each cycles refine the methods, data, and interpretations based on the knowledge developed in each earlier cycle. So, based on the previous models, we can say that the action research model mainly follows 4 stages. The first stage is planning, which means identifying a research problem, developing research questions, and creating a research plan. Second stage is acting, which means implementing the research plan, making changes or adjustments as required based on the evidence collected. And third stage is observing, which means analyzing or discussing the findings with co-researchers or stakeholders and writing the report. And the final stage is evaluating the entire process, applying the new findings and repeating the cycle for continuous improvement. So, irrespective of the models, there are some general steps for conducting action research. The first step is identifying the research questions, which involves working with stakeholders to identify research problems that are meaningful and relevant to them. While the researchers may introduce an issue, it's essential that the problem resonates with the stakeholders, not just the researcher. The researcher helps in formulating clear and answerable research questions, often using brainstorming sessions or focus groups to discover important issues. Second step is gathering information. This involves collecting data to address the identified problem. The method of data collection is determined by the nature of the problem and preferences of the stakeholders. It could include interviews, observations, or ethnographies. Depending on the research needs, the researchers may choose qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods for data collection. Third step is analyzing the information. Qualitative data can be summarized into a suitable table format based on some common elements or themes. But for analyzing quantitative data, we use descriptive statistics such as percentages, simple frequency tables, or simple statistical averages and dispersions. This stage requires maximum time and helps the practitioners or researchers in making decisions. And the final step is sharing the results with the participants through discussions or meetings for empowering them to work collectively to produce some beneficial changes. There are several advantages of action research. Firstly, action research is used in community work where practitioners work as agents of change. They can use this research method as a part of their regular activities. Mainstream research paradigms in some field situations can be difficult to operate. Action research offers practitioners a chance to make use of their practices as a research opportunity. Secondly, it's a collaborative approach, and in practical action research, researchers and practitioners work together to identify problems, understand their causes, and develop solutions. Thirdly, it combines theory with practice, which helps the practitioners to identify the problems more clearly. It drives the community empowerment and social change by providing more guidance and knowledge. However, there are some disadvantages also. Firstly, executing an action research project is more difficult than the conventional research. Here, the researcher manages both the action and research responsibilities, which makes it more difficult than the traditional research. Secondly, changes may stop being implemented or progress may slow down when the change agents leave the system, as outcomes are often associated with them. Thirdly, action research may not always meet the stakeholders' expectations and often demands more library work, which can be time consuming. And lastly, in conventional research, the investigator knows which literature is relevant, but in action research, the researcher has to collect the data first and then review the literature to challenge his or her findings. Additionally, in action research, investigators must need to justify their overall approach or methodology in more detail than the traditional research. So, in summary, we can say that action research follows the critical theory paradigm where knowledge is gained through action rather than just theory. Action research was first introduced by Kurt Lewin in the 1940s, and it drives the social change and continuous improvement. Thank you for watching. I hope this video has given you a clear understanding of action research. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below.